it's always been a passion of mine to support small businesses. I don't want to see the mom and pops go out of style. And if I can influence any of that, I certainly will.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Hello and welcome back to the Coaching Advantage Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Bosley. I love coaching, I love training, and we're doing it with real estate agents and small business owners. So if that's you, you're in the right spot. Hey, I apologize for that hiatus. I know it's been a quick minute since we've released one of these podcasts. We've got a lot of great content recorded, and we will be releasing them pretty consistently here moving forward. So thank you for your patience. Today is a fantastic interview with Jessica Starr. She's an agent from the Northeast, has a big team, comes from contribution, gives value, makes lead generation fun. So you're going to hear her strategy there of how she's able to attract clients into her world through servant leadership and giving. If you like what you hear, do us a favor and subscribe and hit that like button. Leave us a comment because it works. It helps us go viral. It helps it share out to the people who are looking for content like this. And maybe as you're listening to it, you can think of somebody in your business that could really value or appreciate this information. Go ahead and just forward it over to them, see what they think. We'd love for you to share that message around. You can like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. You can follow us on Google, all of those things, but all of that is secondary to you having a great session. So enjoy your interview with Jessica Starr. I've given a soft introduction, and we have talked in the past. Yet I remember listening to you and watching you on Mega Camp with one of the interviews, and what resonated with me is how you make lead generation just fun, about connecting, about adding value, featuring and highlighting different business owners, strong social media presence. Lead generation does not have to be a 4-letter word. Lead generation can be a lot of fun. It can be about adding value. So I'd love for you to be able to share your infinite wisdom on that. Before we do, give us a quick introduction so everyone knows why you are just an amazing guest and how we can appreciate you for your value of your time today.
Well, hey, everybody. I'm Jess Starr. My team name is Starr Realty Group in Connecticut. And I guess a quick introduction is I have been in business since I was 23. I'm 42 years old. I am a mama of 4, married my high school sweetheart, lived in the town we grew up in. And we are a single income house. It's a good income, but we're a single income house, and we own multiple investment properties. We do a ton with community and charity events, as well as client events. We tend to tie them all together. And my team is 11 people now, and we pended and closed so far. We're over 200 units and 65 million in sales.
Amazing.
We're a little podunk Connecticut, so we're not a massive team. Just so you know, we are more admin heavy than agent heavy. So my people are doing a lot of production.
Okay, so admin heavy, your agents are doing out there over 200 units pending and sold. That's massive, because even looking at the Keller Williams stats, the closed stuff from at least a month ago was at about 112. So you got a strong pending pipeline happening as you finish strong. Good for you. So the audience today, in addition to everyone who's listening to this afterward via podcast, but for the live audience today, the majority of them are emerging future cappers, emerging talents. So this is the productivity coaching program. So I want to make sure that we can talk with kind of both conversations. One is mega camp style, that they can see the possibilities, potential, scalability. And the other one is going to be, how can we relate this to them right now as a solo agent who's building a pipeline and building a business? Can you talk to us a little bit of your main sources of business? Where's your business come from, and how can we create and recreate that?
My biggest source of business is past client sphere referral and agent to agent referrals. We do a bunch too with social media, and we'll do Facebook ads and client events. So that's in a nutshell us. But we're really heavy about touching our database a lot. Through the work we do with events and other things within our community.
Okay.
And I think, just so you guys know, one question that nobody ever asks on an interview, and I know as a newer agent or as an agent before I had a team, I always wondered, well, like, Jess, how did you start? Well, the first year I was a single agent and I sold 2 condos at $140,000 a piece. That's what I did.
Okay.
So you might be killing it way more than I am if you're a brand new agent, but I want you to know that I more than doubled each year. And when I switched from Prudential to Keller, In 2010, my business, I left as their number one agent at Prudential, single agent, at 5.6 million in sales, which was a lot then. And it's still a lot now, but it was a lot then. And my business went up 114% the first year.
Let's talk about that because success leaves clues. So talk to me first about that first year. What do you think is always the most difficult part as agents when they see it on paper? They go through Ignite, they read the MREA, they listen to people like you, yet the momentum isn't always there. What about that makes it just a tough first year for agents to get up and go?
I heard somebody say one time, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough.
Okay.
So if you're not finding that driver, that passion behind you, maybe you need to take some time to think about why you're doing this. Think about the goals that you want to set. Think about the people you want to help within your community, your clients, your friends, your family. Think about how you want to be presented. Do you want to be the person that if something comes up, you know that you can help at a moment's notice, whether that's financially, physically, emotionally, whatever it may be? Think about the person you want to become. I think the number one class people should take is Quantum Leap. That will help you get to your why.
What's your why?
My big why is empowering the people around me to be better humans and to do the right thing at all costs. So I truly want to inspire not only our community, I want to inspire my children to inspire their friends and my clients' children so that it's a ripple effect, because I think they need great role models within. And you do that by showing the business you do, by being willing to talk about finances and teaching people and educating people on that and not being embarrassed. And you do that by being a servant leader and giving back, because the more you get, the more you should give.
Love that. So we're going to circle back on that when we talk about sources, but I do want to also ask you, in 2010, when your business grew by 114%, you already had established, you already were doing this for a decade. And what about moving from one company over to Keller Williams do you think was a trigger for you? Was it just motivation for you, or is it about the systems and culture? Talk to me about that.
So that's a loaded question. So if you ever go look at KW Connect, and I did an interview on pivot with all of life's curveballs before they use the word pivot and they use shift, right?
Yep.
And we did that because when I moved in 2010, I was at the company for about 6 months. I had plugged into the systems big time. I had already started Bold when I was at my other company, and I've now taken Bold 19 times. And
write that down. Success leaves clues.
19. My entire team has to take Bold. It is a non-negotiable, and multiple times. So the mindset was really key for me, and that's what I needed more than anything. And the lessons I learned were so helpful through multiple areas in my life. So that year I came, it was about 5 or 6 months in, and my husband and I had the most perfect day. Nothing happened special, but we found out we were pregnant again. We had 2 boys. They were 2 and 4 at the time. And I found out I was pregnant. We didn't know it would be our daughter because we had 2 boys. The day after, my husband had a traumatic accident and fell 16 feet out of a firehouse ceiling and broke his back. So when your why doesn't make you cry, I think I have a pretty good why behind that too.
Sure.
My goal was to keep that man safe. We were lucky he was there. So I plugged into the systems more than I ever had. And I took over. And I had already been in heavy production period, but it was a non-negotiable. We were down to 1 income. I was pregnant, right? So they say if you want to take the castle, you need to burn the boats.
That was it. Your boats got burnt without you even lighting the match.
I didn't even light the match, darn it.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
when we think about the math of a 2-year-old and 4-year-old, that means for the previous 5 years you were either pregnant or had a newborn.
yes.
And so your first 7 out of your 10 years of selling houses, you were a new mom or a pregnant mom. So that talks about all the different things. And what's important is you guys weren't planning on him falling 16 stories. And sometimes the big why can't be just to get by now. It needs to say, how do we set ourselves up in the event of catastrophe?
Yeah, my team kind of teases me and makes fun of me because I'm always planning. I always have a worst case scenario. But The thing is, you have to have that plan of action where this is plan A, this is plan B, and this is plan C.
Yep.
Right. And so luckily I was a saver, but I have now luckily a husband who's broken back, concussion, but that was it. With the 16-foot fall, he should have been dead. So he's in a hospital bed in our living room for about 6 months.
Wow.
I'm pregnant. I'm working and trying to sell houses in between, and then had to form a team because the business just kept coming. And I couldn't handle it all by myself. So I needed an admin. So I got my admin was like a per contract admin that became a little more full-time, like 20 hours a week, but I always lead with revenue first. So I'm always watching my numbers, trimming, cutting, whatever I can do. And then by September that year, I added a buyer's agent, but only a few of her sales showed up in December.
Right.
Because she started in September. So really that production was mine.
Yeah.
That first year. And we've doubled year over year since, pretty much.
Well, and we just talked about we're in business planning season. So as you talk to this audience here of going, as you start planning for 2022, what are some important things to think about as you start business planning for next year?
So I think you guys should all watch Jean Rivers' business planning clinic that was posted on the Pivot Shift Ahead group. At about minute, I don't know if it was like 34, between 34 and 53, let's say. He talks about something called the lid, and it talks about your lifestyle, your investment, and your debt.
Yep.
I had taken business planning clinic for years. I had never heard that. And I know Jean teaches the same thing over and over and over again. I had never heard it, at least not that clear.
Yep.
So when coming up with your numbers, re-watch that part, and it talks about, well, what do you need to fund your lifestyle? How much should you be investing in, and what is your debt? So you want to know all these things so you can figure out how much money you need to make annually to get to where you want to get to. And then you should project it out, like set it up for the next 3 to 5 years to say, okay, 2022, we want to have 12,000 in passive income coming in, and we're going to do that by X, Y, and Z. Our business is going to do X, Y, and Z. But he breaks everything down so that when you're actually saying, I want to do 100 units, what does that really mean to you? Do you want to do 100 units, or at your price point, could you do 50 units and be in the level of comfort that you want to be in and making the memories with your loved ones that you want to make?
Right.
So you really need to analyze those numbers because it's different for every person.
Oh, I love it. And it starts with your lifestyle, and it doesn't mean what do I need to get by. It says, what do you want, how you want to live, including the vacations and the cars and the houses and the appointments for whatever memberships you're part of. And then investments is almost thinking about tomorrow, because most agents who don't think about tomorrow end up with a job their entire career until they just stop working. So investments from our real estates to our flips to our Airbnbs, or if you're doing stocks or crypto or whatever you do to create
profit share,
set yourself up. Profit share. Love that. All right. Well, I want to make sure we get into some of the meat and potatoes here. What's your favorite way to lead, Jen? Like we know it's past clients and it's events and social media and it's Facebook posts and responding to people, agent referrals. What's the most fun for you? What gives you the most joy?
My most fun is the events. I love the events. I love the people-to-people contact. And it was challenging in COVID. And we reversed how we did a lot of things and reverse engineered a lot of things, or made them more intimate, or made them physically distanced. And, because we're never socially distant. And in Connecticut, they're pretty anal about still being smart about masks and all that other stuff too. So, but what I would say is it's the client event. And what is the most important about a client event is what you do before and after. It's not even the event. People want to feel included. They want to feel you care. They don't even care if they don't come, but just think about how you'd operate if your friend didn't include you in a party, right? And what if you paid that friend $5,000 to $10,000 and then they didn't include you in that party? How might you feel?
Right.
So you have to be very smart about how you're also doing this. So if this is a client event for everybody, great, post it on social media. If it's not for everybody, do not post it on social media because people will get their feelings hurt.
And you brush something over real quick. I think it's worth repeating. You don't social distance, you physically distance. That you never distance socially. And I think that's the common phrase through COVID in this climate is social distance. You're going, nope, Refuse to be socially distant. Physically distant, I'll subscribe to. So these events, and you said your number one source of business is through past clients and referrals. I imagine that's off of standing on the shoulders of your events. It's coming through your events.
Yeah, so sometimes it happens right at the event. It happens before or after. Sometimes what happens is that because of how we have our Starr Realty Group flags out, and because everything for us is about the details, we like to call ourselves the Disney of real estate. So with that being said, it's all in the details. So if they get a wristband, it's a special wristband for our team that has, stars on it. They get their names on their badge, they get their address, and then there's a scavenger hunt at the harvest event so that they have to meet each other. So we're making people talk and connect. It's all about connecting people.
Okay.
That's number one. And it's all in the details. So we just got a new buyer and seller. So they're selling a house at 425. They're buying a house at 6 something. So it's $1 million, right?
Uh-huh.
They weren't at our events, but they had come that day to Brown's Harvest, had seen all of our stuff, had seen our clients bragging on us. They had seen social media posts, because we always have hashtags that people have to do and post everywhere. And they're like, oh, these guys are great. And then we did the spooktacular event in town, which was like a trunk or treat. And we got to be the judges of the costume and provide the prize. They were there too. And they're like, you guys are everywhere. You're always giving back. You're everywhere. And I'm like, oh, that was not a team event. That was a client event. So that's different. So we just signed them.
What I love is you're branding to the audience simultaneously, and you actually are, validated something we mentioned just before you got on, was sometimes you don't have to be the one throwing the event, just go be a participant. And so for that trunk or treat, the community or someone else through the event, you showed up as the contest costume judge, and therefore you got to put your name and your flag everywhere. They got to do all the heavy lifting. Then you tapped into their database who you otherwise wouldn't have shown up to your event. Are you doing most? Go ahead.
When you know about the events, find this out. This is what I'm going to tell you. You could always be a sponsor at multiple events throughout town, right? But find out if there's a prize. This is what we try to do. If there's a prize, even though it's going to probably cost you more, try to be the sponsor of that event, because you're going to have to get that contact information for the people to award them the prize, aren't you? Whereas just sitting and handing out candy at a table, you likely wouldn't be that person that would get that contact info, would you?
Okay. So if there's a farmer's market, figure out whoever's coordinating it, find out what is the prize given away. If there's not one, do you just ask if you could do one and create it?
Well, if you think about a farmer's market, there's likely not a prize, but what you could do is create an event around the farmer's market.
Okay.
Hey guys, we want to support our local small businesses, right?
Yes.
So we're going to be present at the farmer's market every single week or every other week. And we want to make sure you use these hashtags and support local so that people know. At the end of their 8-week run, we're going to do a contest for everybody that's used these hashtags, left us an online business review, or just popped by and said hi, right? And by the way, you can register to win a new weed whacker, a John Deere tractor, a blacktop grill, and have your sponsors help you sponsor that too.
Right.
But tie it all in, because if they can win a prize, that's number one. They'll give you the right contact information. If they're not winning a prize, guess what? That contact information is not going to be right 100% of the time.
Right.
And then you support local small businesses, which everybody has known in my town that's what we do. So if you look at Zillow and you type in Simsbury and agents, Simsbury, Connecticut, we're at the top. We're at the top for reviews, for listings, for sales, everything. So I don't pay Zillow. I beat them by my review.
Nice. So Simsbury, spell that for me.
Simsbury.
Okay, Simsbury, Connecticut. Look up there, and I heard you say it 2 or 3 times. You have a lot of emphasis on hashtags. So you filter everyone at your event to go back to your. Is it just Facebook? Are you on Instagram, or what are you finding through social media?
Put it anywhere you can. So if we might tie in an online review contest, right? So you want to win our Yeti cooler? We're going to do my agent's cooler than you. Hashtag Starr Realty Group. Hashtag SRG Client for Life. Like stuff like that.
Okay. I love it. So hashtags are important. Drive them back to your social media, whichever one they want to use. I don't care. If you want to Pinterest it, just hashtag it out there, because the more they hashtag. It's also
searchable for you to find them, and it's doing brand awareness for people. So if they can tag you too, awesome. Hashtags, great. Make sure you tell them how they need to do the hashtags. And I wouldn't have any more than 2 or 3, because it'll be too much for them.
Yep. I love it. You mentioned the most important thing about the event is the before and the after. We've heard this a lot of, from the 6 or 8 week cadence, from the invites to the save the dates to the follow up. Do you have just a standard checklist? Every event, we have this prep in this post. Can you share that with us what that is?
So what we do is we use Google Sheets and we call them our playbooks. We make a playbook for every single event. On the bottom of each playbook. Hope you guys are taking notes.
I'm taking notes.
All right. You will find, call schedule. It will also have mailing schedule. So it will have a marketing tab. So then we put in the date, the type, and when it's gone out. That's on the marketing tab on this playbook, right?
Okay.
The next tab on the playbook is expenses. So my team knows I like to lead with revenue. So anytime we're doing something, if we're buying something, they are to get 3 quotes.
Okay.
Period. So we've got all the expenses of the people we've looked at. Then we highlight who we've actually used. We've also made a note at how far in advance we needed to order it.
Okay.
Right? And we've put that contact info in case we're talking to a specific vendor or partner that's selling that product. We put their contact info there too. So guess what? When we're doing it next year, we're not going, oh, where was this information for this? It's all right there.
Okay.
Then the next tab will be attendees because it might be multiple people from the team. It might be some vendors or partners that are helping us. We put that in there too.
Yep.
And then we put debrief as the final tab. So after every event, we get together as a team and we debrief about what went well, what could be better, and what would we like to improve. So that's a big thing. We send out, we do mass texts, we do blast emails, phone calls. We set up a call day with the team prior to. And one thing that we've done, but we need to get better on being more consistent, is doing the post-event follow-up with a phone call to just check on their feedback. Sometimes we'll send a Google form or a Woohoo form asking for feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what did you like about this event? Again, at the end of every questionnaire we send to them, it's got, are there any other pieces of real estate we can help you with today, here or throughout the world? Did you write that down?
Yeah, say that again though. Are there any other pieces of real estate we can help you out here or throughout the world?
Here or throughout the world.
And that's on the survey, the post-event survey. I was going to ask, when are you intentional about asking for business? Does it happen organically? It sounds like at the very end, you have no problem asking for it. Is there intentional scripts of when that comes up in conversation?
It happens in the beginning when we send out the invite.
Okay.
Because they'll have to put their contact info in there.
Okay.
If they're attending and how many people are attending. Here's some additional questions. Do you need any financing needs, whether it's refinancing, thinking of purchasing? Have you ever thought of buying an investment property? Would you like more information? Think
so
about
on every registration form, if they're going for a Blackstone grill or a Yeti cooler, those real estate related questions are at the bottom of that form that they're filling. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, that actually isn't for those types. They will be, but it's for our events. So it goes out with the event. So we're doing our Pie Day coming up. The event's going out today.
Okay.
Right? The email.
Yep.
And then we'll do a call day just before to make sure.
Okay.
Too. We also send a blast text and another email again and a voicemail drop.
Okay. So there's 5 touches before the event and then 1 to 2 after the event.
At least.
How often are you doing these events?
So before COVID, we did more, but it would be at least once a quarter for a client event.
Okay.
Then we do a community or charity event simultaneously once a quarter.
Okay.
So for us, a lot of times with the events that we do, we're going to tie in a charity to every event we do. So that's why our clients love to come. Last year, we had a big issue and our vendor was terrible that had given us the pies. They used to be wonderful and something changed drastically. They sent us frozen pies that were melted.
Yikes.
Pumpkin pies. So it was like soup. So I quickly called everybody, got them all new pies and delivered them the next day. And everybody said, look, in the end, it has nothing to do with the pie, Jess. It's how you guys give back. So we usually donate to Connecticut Children's Medical Center at that time when we do the pies, and we collect for about a month because they weren't collecting due to COVID. We collected for the Village for Families and Children. And it was the biggest donation they'd ever had.
Now you say donations. Do you sell these pies and then all proceeds, 100% proceeds? Or how do you correlate, I'm going to give you a pie with raise money?
Are you a past client, Rick?
Yes.
Yes, you're getting a pie.
Okay.
And
so,
then
so who's writing the check? Where's the money come from?
the money. So here's the thing. There's some people that just want everything leveraged. So they'll ask their lenders, they'll ask their attorneys, their inspectors, their insurance people, whoever it may be, maybe a contractor, an electrician you help all the time.
Yep.
They want to help sponsor the event and co-share the cost, right?
Okay.
So when they do that, you should also have them on all your marketing, by the way, to be fair. So you have to follow RESPA guidelines. I'm sure there's other ways to do stuff, but for me, I am a stickler on the RESPA guidelines, so I just follow them because I don't need anybody questioning me.
Sure.
So when it comes to the pie event, though, in particular, because I'm grateful for them, I don't ask anybody to help.
Okay.
So
and this
they
is
wanna
truly
come
out of
and share it.
curiosity. Where's the fundraising come in?
So the fundraising comes in with, hey, we're doing the pie event. By the way, if you'd like to bring a donation of a used coat, a new coat, some undies, toiletries,
Okay.
whatever, please feel free to bring them and drop them off. No obligation whatsoever to do it. By the way, everybody that decides to bring something could win this great basket. And I always make an awesome basket of whiskey and wine and beer and
Cool.
a giving plate and candles and whatever. And they're like, Jess, we don't even care about the basket. But I'm like, I have to give you something. So we also try when they come to pick up the pie to give them something branded. Like we have hats and we had water bottles and whatever else. So if they're giving a lot of stuff, we give them a little something there too. So when they bring an item, they get an item that's branded from us. And then they get an entry to win the basket.
I love it. And what I love is it's one event that actually is touching 2 and 3 different perspectives. Maybe they actually don't want pie, but they still drop off the clothing or the used backpack or whatever else, or vice versa, right? And it's a multi-touch. Now you said simultaneously, that's what you meant by that. That not only are we doing client appreciation, during the same event, the same time, we're piggybacking with anybody can come and donate towards this.
Right. So we typically, like with the pie event, we'll start off and we'll say, all right, we're doing the pie event. You bring one of these items, a coat or a new unwrapped toy. We can donate to both charities.
Yep.
And then we'll give you a branded item. They don't know that, but that's what we do. And you get entered in to win this basket. Great. And then we keep running that event through December. So the public can come and donate too. So then we put flyers up at Starbucks. We're posting on the local neighbors groups that we need help in donating. We're doing sponsored ads, stuff like that, so that we stand out. And
So
a
your
video will inspire.
donations will last a month or 6 or 8 weeks, even though your event was just the one that kicked it off.
Right.
Perfect. I love it. Something else you've done really well, at least I recall, is you'll go to a local business, feature them, do a whole Facebook story on it. Talk to us about that, of how you've become almost like the local spokesperson for small business owners.
So it's always been a passion of mine to support small businesses. I don't want to see the mom and pops go out of style. And if I can influence any of that, I certainly will. So they're entrepreneurs just like us. So you may be a new agent and not have a lot of business, but there's no reason you cannot go in and introduce yourself to the local liquor store owner there in Connecticut. It's a packy. So you can, go meet the package store owner, go meet the coffee shop owner, the cheese shop owner, the, small restaurant that's been in business for 45 years in town, Antonio's, right? Go meet them and know them. Cause like all those owners are all clients of mine. And that matters to me. So I want to support. And I might have posted the other night, like, hey, come to Antonio's. It's cabbage night, AKA mischief night. Everybody else in the world, I guess. Where they give you a slingshot to throw teepee at their own trees, but they're also collecting for the food pantry in Simsbury.
Cool.
And he's a past client of mine. So why am I not going to support them? And even before he was a client of mine, I supported them. That's why he became a client.
And I think a good place to start is find the places that you love being a patron to, that you support anyway. Go get intentional from a business to business relationship instead of a customer to restaurant relationship. And now you've got business allies and how you can support each other and support from even events. We're going to host this pie giveaway at Antonio's in conjunction with the mischief night and everything else out there.
Right. And if you think about it too, we were doing the business spotlights during COVID to feature small businesses and how they were succeeding. Mm-hmm. One of the local pizza shop owners, again, if you look at YouTube, you'll see a bunch of the interviews on there. YouTube.com/Starr Realty Group, 3 R's in a row.
Starr Realty Group, 3 R's.
Yep. Go ahead and subscribe. You guys will see anything we post up there. But the good thing about that was, I called one of the local package store owners. It's a women-run business, which I absolutely love. She is a single mom with 3 kids, and she is one of the hardest workers I know and super creative on everything she does. So I wanted to make sure she was okay. And it was a care call during the pandemic. And I just called her to say, hey, what's going on? How can I help you?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, my influence can make a bigger impact than more things because of how we've networked within the community. So how can you influence others to use these businesses or influence others to support somebody else within your community? The more you give, you should read the book, The Go-Giver, the more you'll get. And it won't be because you expect it. You put in the work now to get the results later.
We've heard this philosophy come up several times in a row unintentionally, that the agents who connect and give and offer value and care calls of truly wanting to help, it's going back to one of the bulldogs of don't be attached to the outcome. Come from contribution. Right. Don't be attached to the outcome, which is sometimes tough when your back's against the wall and your bank account's getting empty and you see Christmas ahead of you. What
the challenging thing is? So people often think of things in terms of money, and they forget the value of influence. I hope you write that down. Even if you have no money, you have 2 good hands and you have influence, right? And you're present within your community, that will show up for you. You may have no money, just be present, be helpful, care about people more than anybody else.
Yep. Care, give, connect. What wisdom do you have as we wrap up here in the final minute or so for the agents out there who know that in their heart and their mind they need to do that, but they feel the pressure? They start feeling the weight of an empty pipeline or no contracts, and it's been a month and 2 months, 3 months. What wisdom do you have to share of the importance of doing the right thing every day and having the patience?
I think patience, obviously, as they say, is a virtue. I am not a very patient person. It might seem like I am. I'm not. And what I would tell you is just do the work. Keep doing the work, put one foot in front of the other, and care about people more than anybody else. If you start showing up, if you need to clear your head, look, I have been through so many different times, from when my dad had an illness from a botched surgery for a year that I had to deal with while running the team, and going back and forth to multiple states. My husband's traumatic accident. We both lost our jobs a month before our wedding, before I got into real estate. We've had a lot. We know how to pivot all the time. I was prepped for the pandemic. And you just have to get up and keep going. Just keep going, put 2 feet on the ground, and know that you can do it. The belief in yourself is so truly important, and people discount it. You need to focus on your mindset more than anything else. Get a journal and do gratitude and affirmation. Write down 3 wins for your day every single day. Sometimes in your darkest days, and I think you've heard, I've had plenty. Sometimes in your darkest day, your win is that the sky was blue. Yeah. That sounds pretty simple, but when you start being grateful for that stuff, everything else will line up. I promise you. So start being grateful for the little things.
I love it. I appreciate your time. We're over time right now, so I want to wrap it up. Is there anything that I failed to ask, or that's something that you just wanted to share with everybody else to wrap this last 30 minutes?
The first year to 2 years in real estate is incredibly challenging. And if you can stick it out. I sold 2 houses my first year, 2 condos. I'm going to repeat that again, 2 condos for those in the back. Now we're already closed and pended over 200. That's great. And the reason I did it was because I want to do what I want, with who I want, when I want, however I want, and give the way I want. And now I can. So I hope that you have a faith and a belief in yourself, and you find something to be passionate about, to find your why, and to find your community, whether that's a dog park or shelter or giving back to some other community. You can find your passion and your purpose, but somebody needs you here and somebody needs your help. Just know that every single day. Wake up and ask yourself that question. And if you guys ever need help in Connecticut or Lower Mass, we're here to help.
I love it. Well, what a gift. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And I'm going to make sure we tag and hashtag in order to follow you on YouTube and get you some subscribers and keep those agent-to-agent referrals going up there for you in Simsbury, Connecticut.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you
Jess.
guys, if anything was helpful for you at all, I would be so grateful if you went to Google and gave us a Google review. We do it all the time for training and education. You guys need to build your Google pages too. That's the last thing you guys should really work on. Start on your Google pages. It beats Zillow. It will beat Zillow if they ever take it away from us. Get Google up and running.
And that is the interview with Jessica Starr. Wow. Did you guys get all that? I'll tell you, if you were listening to this in the car or at the gym or on a walk, you need to go back and listen to it again in front of a notebook. Take some notes. What are those takeaways? We learned about her events, her systems, how she combines them with charity events and pop-bys and socials and philanthropies and all sorts of things in the strategic systems checklist that she has around it. She's got a servant's heart. She loves what she does. She comes from passion. Did you guys hear that her first year she closed 2 deals, and this last year she closed 200? Stay persistent doing the right things, and it will come. And even if your hardest days or you're broke or you don't know how you're going to get through it, know that you have influence, and you can work with that influence and inspire and empower others. So I'd love to hear your aha. What is your takeaway? What is the action item? What's the moment that she said something you're like, wow, I needed to hear that right now? If you've got it, drop it in the comments section of wherever you heard this. Give us a review and go find her on Google and give her a Google shout out and help her build her Google page with a review of this podcast. Guys, thanks again for listening. This is the Coaching Advantage Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Bosley. That's the end of the episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.